In this section, we are focusing on CVE 2024-40766, ensuring we grasp the essentials of this vulnerability, its potential repercussions, how to rectify the issue, and understanding the exploits that are out there. We'll cover an overview to set the stage, then discuss the risks associated with this vulnerability. This includes what kind of threats might arise if this vulnerability is exploited. Next, we'll explore the remediation steps you can take to protect your systems, detailing the actions necessary to secure an environment. Finally, we'll touch on the kinds of exploits that have been observed, highlighting the real-world implications and reinforcing why addressing this vulnerability is of significant importance. Let's focus on CVE 2024-40766, a significant security vulnerability identified as improper access control within SonicWall SonicOS. Its risk level is deemed critical with a CVSS score of 9.8, underscoring its severity. The vulnerability impacts devices from generations 5, 6, and 7, specifically up to SonicOS version 7.1-FIDO35. The primary risks associated with this vulnerability include unauthorized access and the potential for the firewall to crash. Moreover, it's important to note that active exploitation of this vulnerability has been reported. To mitigate the risks, it is imperative to update the firmware on affected devices and to restrict access as precautionary steps. The importance of CVE 2024-40766 cannot be overstated. This vulnerability presents a severe breach of security controls within affected SonicWall devices, leading to significant risks. The impact of this vulnerability includes not only a compromise of network security, but also potential threats to data integrity. Real-world cases have already shown its exploitation, particularly in ransomware attacks. This seriousness is underscored by its inclusion in the CISA Advisory's Known Exploited Vulnerabilities catalog, highlighting the need for organizations to address this vulnerability promptly to protect their systems from unauthorized access and potential exploits. In this slide, we'll be examining a technical breakdown of the vulnerability, CVE 2024-40766. This flaw is predominantly due to inadequate access controls, which can compromise key components like firewall management and SSL VPN access. Exploitation typically involves unauthenticated remote access, posing a significant risk by potentially allowing unauthorized data access and causing system crashes. Tools such as Nmap and Insight VM are effective for analyzing this vulnerability and assessing the security posture of your network systems. These insights are vital for ensuring your infrastructure remains secure from external threats. In this slide, we focus on the specific SonicWall devices that are vulnerable to certain types of unauthorized access. These affected devices span across different generations, namely Gen 5, Gen 6, and Gen 7. For Gen 5 devices, any versions up to and including 5.9.2, 4.14, and 12.0 are susceptible. In the case of Gen 6 devices, vulnerabilities exist in versions up to 6.54 Fort 109N. Similarly, for Gen 7 devices, versions up to 7.1-FIF35 are impacted. It is imperative to verify the versions of these devices that are currently in use within your infrastructure. If your devices fall within these version ranges, you must initiate the necessary updates immediately to ensure that these vulnerabilities are effectively mitigated. In this slide, we're focusing on the exploits and attacks that have been observed concerning SonicWall devices. Ransomware groups have been found compromising SSL VPN connections, with a particular emphasis on the Akira ransomware targeting these accounts. When examining potential exploit indicators, be vigilant for signs such as unauthorized VPN access and unexpected system crashes, which could signal a compromise. Although there is no formal proof of concept available at this time, it's suspected similar techniques are active in the wild. Understanding these threats enables us to better protect and secure our network environments. To mitigate the potential vulnerabilities posed by SSL VPN compromises, it is essential to prioritize updating your systems to the latest firmware versions. For Gen 5, the necessary fix is version 5.92-13.0, while Gen 6 systems should be updated to either version 6.5.282N or 6.54.15.6N. For those utilizing Gen 7, it is imperative to ensure your systems are running a version beyond 7.1-5035. Timely patching of these systems is a primary action to block unauthorized VPN access and prevent possible system instability that may result from potential attacks. Keeping the firmware updated across these versions is one of the critical defensive strategies against these threats. In this slide, we're focusing on access control recommendations to bolster network security. First, it's important to restrict management access to only trusted IP addresses to minimize unauthorized attempts. If wide area network or WAN management isn't necessary for your operations, consider disabling it entirely as an additional security measure. Regarding SSL VPN access, limit it to trusted sources and assess whether it is truly essential for your network, as disabling it can reduce potential exposure to threats. These strategies aim to control and protect who can access sensitive areas of your network, thus strengthening your overall security posture. Now that we've discussed access control recommendations, let's focus on enhancing security measures. An immediate password update across all user accounts is necessary. Additionally, enabling multi-factor authentication, MFA, for SSL VPN users adds a vital layer of protection. It's a best practice to implement a user password change requirement regularly to ensure ongoing security. For verifying potential exposures, tools like Cycognito can provide valuable insights. Consider these steps as essential to reinforcing your organization's security posture. In this slide, we're focusing on the conclusion and the best practices to ensure our systems and data remain secure. First, it's important to stress the urgency of addressing potential vulnerabilities. Immediate mitigation is essential. As part of a long-term strategy, you should commit to performing regular updates and restricting access to your networks. Implementing multi-factor authentication will add an additional layer of security. For those looking to deepen their understanding, we recommend consulting the SonicWall Security Advisory and the NIST National Vulnerability Database. These resources offer valuable insights into threat landscapes and response strategies. Lastly, consistently reviewing and updating your security protocols will help in maintaining a robust security posture, proactively defending against emerging threats. On this slide, we're focusing on the references that are integral to implementing the strategies discussed previously. Here, you'll find important resources such as the details of CVE 2024-40766, available through the National Institute of Standards and Technology's National Vulnerability Database, NIST-NVD. This will provide you with comprehensive information on the vulnerability itself. Additionally, the SonicWall Advisory, labeled SNLI 2024-407, gives insights specific to SonicWall products and their mitigation strategies. Lastly, make sure to check the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency's CISA Known Exploited Vulnerabilities Catalog for entry CVE 2024-4076. This catalog helps track and prioritize vulnerabilities that are actively exploited, aiding in risk management and informing your security protocol reviews. These references are key for staying informed and effectively managing security risks.